Ever wondered what net zero really means and why it's such a big deal? Well, let's dive right in. Net zero is a concept that has become critical to our climate change conversation. It's all about balance. Imagine a scale. On one side, you have all the greenhouse gases we emit, and on the other, you have all the ways we can reduce or absorb these emissions. The goal is to get these scales to balance out to zero. But here's the catch. It's not just about making this balance, it's about maintaining it. And that's where many countries and companies are finding it tricky. While they've enthusiastically embraced net zero targets, the specifics of how they plan to achieve and maintain this balance often remain vague. And accountability? That's another story. Without clear plans and transparency, reaching net zero could just remain a beautiful dream. So, remember, it's not just about setting a net zero target, it's about the journey to get there. The success of net zero depends on the details and accountability. Did you know fossil fuels are responsible for over 75% of global warming? Quite a hefty percentage, isn't it? We rely heavily on fossil fuels, from powering our homes and industries to running our cars. But this dependence comes at a cost to our planet. Now, you might ask, why not just transition away from fossil fuels? Well, it's not that simple. Powerful nations, those with vast reserves of these resources, have vested interests in the fossil fuel industry. For these nations, fossil fuels represent economic power, jobs, and national security. So, they resist change. They resist the transition to cleaner energy alternatives. However, the clock is ticking, and the planet can't wait. We're in a race against time to mitigate the effects of climate change, and a key part of that race is solving this fossil fuel conundrum. It's about finding a balance, a way to transition without causing socio-economic upheaval. The solution will require innovation, cooperation, and most importantly, political will. It's a tall order, but one we must fill. The future of our planet depends on how we address this fossil fuel conundrum. Have you ever heard about the phase down of unabated coal power? No, it's not about completely abandoning coal power. Rather, it's about reducing its use, gradually but significantly. Unabated coal power refers to power generated from coal without any measures to capture and store the carbon emissions it produces. When we talk about phasing it down, we're discussing a strategic shift towards cleaner energy sources, while still utilizing coal in a more controlled and less harmful manner. It's a bit like going on a diet. You don't necessarily stop eating your favorite foods altogether. Instead, you reduce the portions, making room for healthier options. In the same way, the phase down of unabated coal power is about making room for cleaner, more sustainable energy sources. It's not an outright rejection of coal power, but a crucial move towards a balanced energy diet. The phase down of coal power, not an abandonment, but a crucial step towards a cleaner future. What if we could capture carbon emissions before they are released into the atmosphere? This intriguing idea is the basis of carbon capture and storage, or CCS. In essence, CCS is a technology designed to trap carbon dioxide from sources like power plants and industrial processes, preventing it from contributing to climate change. But here's where things get complex. There's no universal agreement on how efficient CCS needs to be. Some argue that it's a necessary part of our climate strategy, while others worry that it could be a distraction from the need to reduce emissions overall. Furthermore, it's worth noting that CCS is often seen as a better deal for the oil and gas industry than for the planet. This is because while it can help these industries reduce their carbon footprint, it doesn't necessarily encourage a shift towards renewable energy sources. So, while CCS holds promise, it's clear that it's not a silver bullet. It's one piece of a much larger puzzle that includes reducing our reliance on fossil fuels, increasing energy efficiency, and transitioning to renewable energy. Carbon capture and storage, a controversial yet potentially significant part of the climate solution. How quickly do we need to slash emissions to save our planet? Well, the truth is, we needed to start yesterday. The urgency cannot be overstated. Every sector of the economy, every corner of the world must make emissions reduction a priority. It's not just about the big industries or the developed countries. It's about every single one of us, making changes on a personal level, a community level, a global level. We must not only reduce our emissions, but also explore and implement ways to remove the remaining emissions from the atmosphere. It's a two-pronged approach. On one hand, we curb the amount of greenhouse gases we produce, and on the other, we actively work on ways to absorb what's already out there. As we march forward into the future, remember this: we don't have the luxury of time. Every day counts, every decision matters. The race against climate change is a race against time, and it's a race we cannot afford to lose. The future of our planet hinges on how quickly and effectively we can reduce our emissions. So, let's not delay. Let's get to work. Expand your knowledge and subscribe to Fact to Factory, your one-stop channel for mind-boggling facts.